Today on Two Decent Blocks.
Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right? Oh, wow. Wow. Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me. Who's got the hardest job tonight? Javier Bardem and his wife are both nominated. Now, if she loses, he can't win. He is praying
good
that Will
marriage joke.
Smith wins. Like, please, Lord. Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right?
Oh, okay.
That interlude.
Oh,
That was a.
did you see Jada's face? Like she didn't like that joke at
No,
all.
she didn't get the joke at all.
Like she got it. She hated it. The expression on her face was like, "Yo, man, what's wrong with you?" Will kind of smiled.
Nice one. Okay. I'm out here. Richard. Oh, wow. Wow. Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth.
Wow, dude.
Yes.
It was a G.I. Jane joke.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth.
I'm going to, okay?
You know, the person I'm looking at the most whilst this is going on is Lupita.
She couldn't
The
believe
Black
it.
Panther. Yeah, she's looking at it. I think she's trying to really keep a straight face. I mean, it's for the cameras too. It's like, oh god. But I like the subtleness to which Will did that, because he could have started shouting before he went over there, but that element of surprise would not be there and whatever.
Yeah, I bet for a second most people thought it was an act or something.
No,
because
a lot of people actually think this is staged.
Yeah. What do you think about that? Do you think the Oscars were looking at their ratings tanking and they thought, you know what, we need a little bit of drama?
No. They can't pay Will Smith enough to embarrass himself like this.
Yeah, well, Will
He
Smith
just
is
cannot.
a rich guy.
He's a rich guy. Like, why would he take money for what reason? Like, oh yeah, go
there's no
there,
reason.
make jokes of my wife's condition because what, of an extra couple millions? Really? No, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and even Rock wouldn't take that money for something like this.
Also, that too is a black man. Oh yeah, you're just gonna punch me on national television for what amount of money? It's so absurd for me. It's actually very consistent. Like when you look at their relationship, Jada and Will, and how it's very gynocentric in some way. Will takes it's almost like he's a second class citizen in that marriage. His feelings, his ego, and his standing as a man is put behind what Jada feels. When you listen to the conversations,
Wait a second. You are saying that based on this incident?
based on how their entire marriage has been portrayed in public, the problem is their marriage has been out there like that. Like everybody kind of knows Jada did not think Will Smith was the first choice. Tupac was. She does not look at Will Smith as the masculine guy, the bad boy that she wanted in Tupac that she did not get. And
But
she settled for Will Smith.
How much of that is just our interpretation of their dynamic?
It's actually out there. No, actually, you look at it. She said that. Like she said that.
She said that Will Smith is not as masculine as I want him to be.
She implied that. Yeah, she implied that. Like it's common knowledge when you go online, people actually talk about it. Like, oh yeah, like we know Will Smith is not the bad boy that she love. Like she always said, what's his name? Tupac was my first love or something like that, or the love of my life. Like when she speaks about him, she speaks about him in a way that the man that she currently has now, if it was me, if I was Ultimate, I'd be like, you can't be saying stuff like that in public, talking about he was the love of your life in public and all that. Like seriously, would you take something like that from your supposed wife?
Okay, I get it. So, what does that have to do with what is happening now?
Well, what I'm trying to say now, let me tie it together because you're challenging the premise, Kuti. You know, what are you saying, Kuti? Well, I don't know why I'm putting Shona in it. But let me just revert to English. You were saying that Will Smith, I was saying Will Smith and his wife have that particular relationship where she does certain things to undermine his authority. Like she claimed that he was not necessarily the first in line. She's also gone and she's had relations with people in public in ways that basically embarrass Will. And even when she had the chance, she still would not really own up to it. She would use special words like entanglement or anything like that. She did not. If it was me, that woman was supposed to apologize to me in public. If she did something like that to me, she should have at least bare minimum come and say, Will, I'm sorry for the embarrassment I've caused you. Still, Will went on there. He did whatever that was supposed to be, asking her what she really did, which she said entanglement. He himself actually figured it was really horse shit and he was laughing at it, but he did not hold her accountable. My question is, if Will Smith had gone and done something like that and he was talking to her, would that be the tone to which they would discuss that issue? So for me, he comes second. She comes first, whatever happens. Now, she's done all that embarrassing stuff for him, and now it's time in public, someone makes fun of her. He still has to go and make an ass out of himself. She did not act belligerent. Nobody's talking about Jada acting belligerent or anything like that or embarrassing herself. He has to go do that on top of all the embarrassment he's been taking.
So you are saying that because of their dynamic, Will Smith felt the need to act all macho in front of the entire world.
Exactly, because he's always been thought of as he's soft. He's always been thought of as he's not masculine enough. Oh yeah, why would someone say something like that about your wife and you don't say something? Like either way, he was doomed. If he didn't act, he's soft. He acted, everybody's like emotional.
Do you think this? First of all, two questions. Do you think
Mhm.
Rock knew that Jada's condition was one that is medical in nature, and she had to cut her hair because of a medical condition, and it's something very sensitive that maybe he shouldn't joke about it lightly, given how
Since
she
since
perceives
when?
her own. What
Since
do you
when do comedians have to care about people's medical conditions and caring about it? It's
No,
comedy.
wait a second. Yeah, I get that, but first of all, this is not a stand-up show. And second, she is Jada Pickett Smith. This is not a general routine about an
No,
abstract
actually, this
thing.
happens a lot more
Now,
than. I mean,
yeah,
Ricky
yeah.
Gervais,
So
he's been out there doing stuff like that, even worse. I mean,
yeah, but I get that. So given the whole social environment where comedians a lot of people think they should be held accountable. I'm asking the question: Do you think Chris Rock knew that she cut her hair because of a medical condition, and he should tread lightly on that,
no,
or he didn't know and he thought it was just a decent joke about hair loss?
even if it was, see, the thing is, and I think this is people coming from two camps. There are people that actually understand. If you've listened to some comedians like Jimmy Carr, you know, there's a particular type of person that can listen to that comedy and laugh, and then there's a particular person that will listen to his comedy and say, "What's funny about that?" And I think those are the people that are probably fighting right now because someone says a joke like that. Someone says, like Ricky Gervais was based on not Ricky Gervais, Jimmy Carr was referring to sometime when he went to a children's hospital where people were dying of cancer, right? And there was this girl that was dying of cancer, but it was her actual lifelong dream to see him. He got there and he kissed her and he said, "Oh, I didn't care about the repercussions. She was underage." He said I kissed her on the cheek or something. I don't know what he said, but he said I didn't care about the repercussions because she wouldn't live long enough to tell the police what happened, right? And he said, what's funny is he actually told her that, and she laughed her ass off. And so, like, that's for me the difference here. Where yes, it's something bad that's happened to you, but you can
Okay.
still get a chuckle out of it. But
Yeah,
some
here's the
people
thing.
don't look like it.
Here's the thing. Now we cannot prescribe how somebody has to feel about a joke,
That's
especially
exactly what I'm
when it is
saying.
about. That's what I'm saying. Let's put you in Will Smith's shoes. Somebody is saying a joke about your wife, like
Yeah.
that. How do you react in that situation? Remember, you are not yourself anymore. You are Will Smith. You are this big,
I will
almost
laugh.
as famous as God.
Before you
You
even
just
finish it, I will
laugh
laugh.
it off.
I will laugh it off. Yeah. I'm
Really,
the
even
type
if
of person.
your wife is hurt by that joke.
I would definitely want this is me. I know I can
Because now
obviously
you
choose
are
how my
even
wife
laughing
feels.
at your wife too.
Yes, that's kind of how I move. And people who've dated me, they actually know. I laugh at the funny things about them. Some of them are actually real and they're not. I like people with a thick skin. I don't like people who have to be coddled and stuff around me. And so before she goes out there with the people, I'm always roasting her before we even go out there. So if that happens, she already knows. She might actually be laughing because I've already probably said that 1,000 times before. But the reason why I do that, I feel like if you have a thick skin, then no one can really hurt you. Now, okay, let's look at the other thing. If that was The Rock making that joke, right? Would Will Smith have had to stand up and go and defend his wife's honor again, or what?
No,
What would
but
he do?
no, you size the person that you're about to fight. Here's the other thing that I
That's
saw
what
people.
happened.
Yeah,
See, that's
of
what
course.
happened. He sized Chris
Wait,
Rock.
wait.
It's not a
Yeah, you have to before you get in any fight. And even
so
let's
it's
say,
not a
wait,
long-lasting
wait a second.
solution to go and
Here's the
fight
thing.
whenever you get
Here's the thing.
offended.
There are people who say, why do you have to involve physical violence when they are just jokes? If you track any fight, physical confrontation that has ever happened in human history, it starts with words. That's how fights start. So it shows that words can inflict pain on somebody that will require a physical response. So his physical response is not like a mismatch, like he should have said
No,
something to counteract. But
it
he's,
doesn't require that. It doesn't
what do you
require
mean?
that you do that. Offense is only taken. I mean, you can say anything to someone and they can take offense or they can decide not to take offense. Certain
Yeah.
people with certain topics, because there are people who are either strong on certain topics and they're not strong on others. So I understand where you're coming from. I'm not saying that Will Smith's getting up was irrational or anything like that. It was probably very rational that he should at least get up. It's an emotional response. You can put two and two together. You disrespect my wife, I'm gonna be angry and I'm gonna punch someone. That line we understand. But there's another line of, okay, well, you need to have class as a man. Also, what are the consequences after? Because that guy could actually be in jail for that. He's
Yeah, but
justified to have done what he
that's
did.
the other thing that I wanted to ask you. Do you think the Academy's response was appropriate just to continue the show as if nothing
Yeah,
happened? Should
yeah,
they have done something?
yeah. I mean, it was very appropriate because, to be honest, it was really going to embarrass Will Smith a lot more if they had to drag him out or if they had to file charges and all that. It was going to. I think they actually did that to help Will Smith because
It
Chris
seems
Rock
like
was fine.
you're saying Will Smith overreacted.
He did. If this is what I think. If you have to put your family and your ability to your family's future and your ability to make money and to be free in this world by going to jail, you've overreacted. I don't care what's going on. That if that was on the street and he had a gun, that could have been some. That's actually how most of these things happen, especially in ghetto America. Something as silly as that and someone dies, and then someone has to go to jail and someone has to basically avenge the death of this one, and then you have long running issues. I think that's when men become overly emotional like that, then we have problems. It's fine when it would have been fine if it was Jada doing that, but when men come in, I think you
Like,
now
you
have
mean
the
if
law.
Jada was the one who stood up to slap Chris Rock, it was fine.
People would have probably, I think it would have been a better look for Will Smith. Let me say that. It would have been a better look for Will Smith. I don't know. Someone can at least help me on this. I think it would have been a better look for him.
Nah, I don't think it would have been a better look. I think,
Oh,
societally speaking, people would have looked at Will
no,
Smith
no,
like,
no, it
what?
wouldn't.
Why
It
do you?
wouldn't.
Yeah, it
Yeah, it
wouldn't. It
wouldn't.
would have been
But
worse. Here's another thing.
as far as consequences, let's say if then
Well,
because Jada would definitely not go to jail, at
here's the
least.
thing. Here's the thing: Will Smith is Will Smith. He's not going to go to jail. Nobody's going to arrest him for something like that, and he knew it. That's why he did it. And here's another thing: how much of this do you think? I know you spoke about this for a little bit. How much do you think is just bottled up, a bottled up reaction to what
That's what
has
I'm
been
saying.
happening in his marriage, and the
He's
things about?
emasculated. That man is emasculated. Kevin Summers actually had this bit I was just telling you about the same thing. He called it something EES, emasculated something something whatever. But that guy has had people say stuff because I've heard Will Smith go off even on 50 Cent about something about his marriage. Like
Mhm.
Will Smith, yeah, he said "fuck you" to 50 or something.
Yeah,
Pardon my French, but he
it
said
was in
something.
that DM, I think.
Exactly. So we know, which is why I was saying it didn't surprise me that Will Smith acted that way because I think he looks at the world and he thinks everybody thinks I am a weak guy for everything that's happened. He's
Mhm.
obviously very logical and rational. He can see that. He's just not the kind of guy that will go and do what he did yesterday.
Do
And
you
I
think
think
what he
yes,
do you think what he did will redeem that identity of him in public square?
I don't think it will. I don't think it will because he then picked the wrong moment and maybe the wrong way to really assert his masculinity. He should have just asserted that masculinity by saying, Jada, we've had a good run, thank you so much, go out and get a new one. That respected him.
Yeah,
That would have
that's
solved
what
his
he should
issues.
have done. As soon as Jada said that shit on TV, he should have left. She said, Wilson can get almost any woman out there. He
He
should have
can,
left
and
and moved on. Here's one thing though. Do you think this will start a trend whereby people physically attack comedians for things that they consider offensive? Because right now, people have been offended by comedians' jokes and pushed to cancel them and all this
Mhm,
stuff. Do you think
mhm.
it will overlap to where we're not going to wait to cancel you? We're going to kick your ass right now.
I don't think people have been waiting for Will Smith to set the precedence for starters.
But this is
Um,
a powerful example, man. This is a powerful example. I
which
actually think that
which people have been
people are,
condemning. A lot of people I've heard talk about it have been condemning that
yeah,
really,
but that
which
doesn't.
actually was
So
surprising.
how many people have you heard condemning cancel culture? Probably even more, but people still do it.
No, 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 no. Like for example, I'll tell you this, like, which is very, very subjective. There's a lot of people who are woke I know in my circles that are condemning this, and that kind of makes me feel a lot better about the standing on this issue. Because obviously, a lot of people have been putting statuses about this. Oh yeah, Will Smith is that like he acted well, and then it's like a whole slew of comments down with people just saying, I understand where he was coming from, but he might have not, he didn't cover himself in glory. In short,
Okay. Okay. Here's the thing. I'll move on to us watching the rest of this video to
oh
see
yeah,
Chris Rock's reaction. Okay.
okay,
Let's play.
Oh, okay.
yeah, he's shocked.
That was
Yep.
greatest night in the history of television. Okay. Okay.
Oh
And
my
actually,
goodness me.
there's also the thing to talk about. He also had to he actually had to accept his award, the one that I think Chris
Oh
Ross
yeah.
actually,
Yeah, he
yeah,
did. He
you know.
won Best Actor, which is, I mean, the best award.
And then he had this whole speech. He was saying the whole time he's talking about, the story that he was actually covering of Serena and Venus Williams.
Mhm.
I'm just thinking, I'm like, are you gonna really? Maybe it's because I haven't really watched a lot of the clips. Maybe he did address it in some. I was just thinking, are you really not? Well, are you not gonna address the elephant in the room?
No, he did
A lot
address
more.
it
He
at
did,
the
right? He
end.
did
Yeah.
apologize, right? I did
Yeah,
see
I heard that
something
he
saying he
did
apologized.
apologize. But look, man, what you first of all, if I was Will Smith and that had happened, I wasn't going to apologize to anyone, least of all in public.
Now,
And
this is
the other thing is what happened after that. After Chris Rock created this way, apparently Tyler Perry and Denzel kind of brought them together to try and reconcile and all these things. And at the end of his speech, Will Smith said that Denzel told him that it's when you are at your highest that the devil comes at you. And that was
Mhm.
the ending of his speech, which I thought, okay, there's some wisdom from Denzel. But question, do you think Denzel and Tyler Perry should have been involved at all?
I think they should in some way, because this is another black man, at least at the elite level of acting in status, that is, you can tell, is spiraling out of control. And maybe part of it, to basically salvage his ego, they thought they might have to talk to both of them, but the truth is they probably really just needed to talk to Will Smith, really, because you can tell his mental, health is really under attack right now, because of just where he finds himself, and especially because of his family. I mean, look at his family. And
What do you mean?
I'm
Oh, you
not the
mean
one
his
to try to.
marriage? But
Yeah, his
here's
marriage and
the
his
thing,
family.
I'll play God's advocate here. You see, most of what we know about the dynamics of their relationship is stuff that, people pieced together about public statements and things like that, right? But these people have been married for a very long time. What their actual marriage is really like is
Nobody
only
really
known by
knows. Yes,
them. Yeah.
but we
So
can comment
I
on the things that are objective. We can see that, for example, that their
That's the
kids.
thing, that can be very illusory. We only have a snapshot of the worst extreme case in their marriage, and we don't have any other counteracting weight to balance that with. And I think we should really be careful about making
Ag-
those blanket judgments that his marriage is gynocentric and
It
all
is.
those
It
things.
actually is. It is. Then let me redeem myself, or at least let me speak for what I was trying to say. The reason why I say that, there's certain marriages in Hollywood and even the public marriages that you can tell that the wife is the one that's calling the shots, or at least in some way that the father is not necessarily as traditional is in his approach, right, to whatever's going on. And you and I have talked about this all this time, that traditional is the way to go. All this alternative type of parenting, as well as marriage arrangements, the results speak for themselves. For example, I mean, the guy is crying on TV and all this stuff that's going on, and he's being embarrassed left, right, and center. We don't need to know what's going on in their bedroom to really know that he's being embarrassed and his stuff is not going well. The difference would be looking at Denzel Washington's marriage. You don't hear none of these things, because you know who's the man in that marriage. You know who wears the pants. When you look at him, when you look at
But
certain marriages,
but just to balance this out, Denzel's wife is not as famous as Jada is. She doesn't
yeah,
have the caliber of celebrity that Jada has.
it doesn't really matter, because Jada is not really as famous anyway for anything except really being married to Will Smith and maybe
But
being a
so the bottom
big
line is she is
actor
famous.
before.
She's more famous than Denzel's wife. Who is Denzel's wife? You can't even name her.
And again, that's probably just going to support my point that when you do have these, power couple type of marriages, this is exactly what you get. It's not as traditional as it should have been. And that's really to just reinforce the point that, um, in their marriage, and then you look at even the results, their kids and the lifestyle they seem to live, it's just they are successful, right? Because their mom and dad are successful. They are known, and they're talented in the things they do. But I don't know if I should sit there and say maybe like the girl, I don't remember even her name, with the type of hairstyle, the type of presentation she has in public and all that type of stuff, like in the American society, that you can sit there and you say,
I
oh, this
mean,
is a happy.
she's an artist. She's a musician. I mean,
I
some of
know.
her public image has to do with the fact that it's a job. This the same
Yeah,
with his son.
and the results for that usually do not end up in a happily married wife that's willing to stand by her husband for eternity. And that's probably what I'm trying to say. Uh, and maybe who's to say that that's what she wants? But we best know that's probably what gives her at least happiness at the end of the day, in the long term. But we are probably digressing here. I think their marriage has had so many examples of things that she said out of her mouth that undermined Will Smith's authority, and he has done nothing like that to her. Even though he's the bigger star, even though he can easily go out there and get a hotter wife than she can ever go and get a higher status guy. No one is willing to marry her that is
Yeah,
at Will
nobody
Smith's
will marry
level.
him.
And so we can talk about this like they're on the same level. They're not. That woman is so lucky to have Will Smith, and she doesn't act like it. And that really, in some way, makes normal, I guess, or average guys like us look at it as like, Will Smith, you are the pinnacle of success in our community. Why are you taking that? Why are you? Because
Yeah,
then it makes a lot of these other women think, yeah, you can actually walk all over women. Like a lot of women don't even see what's wrong with that. You know what I mean? Like you should have put her in her place before.
the truth is, Will Smith should really have left that girl a long time ago. He really should, but he stuck around, and now he's in all this mess. How do you think it's going to fall in general? What do you think the fallout is going to be like?
At this point, I don't even know what's going to really be the final straw that breaks the camel's back, because that was probably 2 or 3 viral incidents ago.
Playing from the 11.
And so, no idea, to be honest. We really have no idea how things are going to go from here. I wouldn't be surprised if he says, I'm done. I wouldn't be surprised if he stays.
Yeah.
But now that his wife seems to be, going through this, some people are saying it could even be cancer, and they're covering it up as alopecia, this other disease they're saying that makes her lose her hair. He might actually be inclined to stay with her a lot more because he actually cares for her, or he's probably scared public perception is going to look like he's the husband that left his wife when she was sick or when she was not in good health. Either way, I think
If
he's more
she is
likely to
in
stay.
if she is indeed sick of cancer, does this justify his actions?
Who, Will Smith?
Yeah. Like if his wife is actually suffering from cancer and it's a private matter and
It
he had
doesn't.
an emotional outburst.
It still doesn't. I hold him accountable and I sound harsh, but it's not up for the world to treat you with kiddie gloves because you are going through something. You gotta go get physical, what you call it, therapy. You gotta go and get therapy and you get healed before you come out here. Otherwise, everyone has issues and everyone has things, and they still have to
He-
show up to their jobs and do the
yeah.
jobs they have to do without doing any of that. No one has that luxury. So Will Smith is
Here's
no
another thing
exception.
though. Here's another thing. Is there something that someone can joke about you that could require you to act physically? Like, but not just comedians. I'm saying, is there a joke that can go too far where you say, you know what, man, you can't talk about my mom like that, or my dad like that, or my wife like that, or my brother like that? We're going to have to fight.
I think those things are there.
Okay,
For
so
everyone. I think those things are there.
who gets to determine which one of those things is that thing?
That's
Because
the trick.
that's what I'm
The
saying,
tricky
that
part about
if we
offense.
look at, I remember fights that I got into because somebody insulted my mom or my brother or whatever. I actually fought people because of that. And I feel like us just standing on our comfy seats here and saying that Will Smith should have not overreacted or reacted this way about this, as if we've never been insulted to the point where we start fights.
Oh
That's
yeah.
why in the beginning I was saying all fights start from insults, and nobody gets to decide what kind of insult warrants a punch or not.
No, I hear exactly where you're coming from. My seat is very comfy. Then the other thing to speak of is I hear you and I hear you. But again, I'm really concerned with what works and not what really feels good. If you are going to go to jail as a man because you took offense,
You
then
see,
something has to
but
change somewhere.
now you change the conversation into an abstract thing, because he is Will Smith. He knows it. He's not going to go to jail for
No,
this.
if Chris Rock decided to press charges, he could go to jail. The
You
evidence is
know,
there for
that's why,
everyone to
yeah,
see.
if that's why I'm saying you are turning it into abstract. He knows Chris Rock is not going to press charges because he is
No, how
Chris
does
Rock
he know
too.
that? No, how
Because he
does
is
he know
Chris
that?
Rock, he's celebrity. Imagine the look that it will give Chris Rock, that
Yeah,
this
but
guy is
why are you
rushing to the
putting your
police.
life in Chris's, or why are you putting your life and your fate in Chris Rock's hands?
It's
Now,
it's taking, do me, it's taking chances. You take calculated risks. That's why you say that if it was The Rock who said that, he probably wouldn't have walked there, just because The Rock is a big man, right? So you calculate to say, okay, Chris Rock is not going to press charges. The Academy is not going to throw me
no,
out of here.
you don't
I'm
know
Will
that for
Smith
sure.
after all. Yeah, that's why I say it's a calculated risk. Nobody knows anything for sure at all, but we still
I don't think
act.
anything was really. was really as calculated as he did. He didn't have enough time to really think what he did at that particular time. But um, my argument is taking it to a broader perspective, I guess, which maybe you might not necessarily be really asking, but I'm kind of pushing it to say, in some other sphere, if it was an actual punch, if it was an actual fight, if it was an actual bro, and you actually are not maybe Will Smith, that could really be one of those things that could set your life down the wrong trail, and you also become the guy that fights when you get offended.
Yeah, but think about it this way. Everything that we do solicits reaction from other people, right? If you look at Rock's side, joking about that is also taking a risk. Number one, that you just offend people and ruin a potential lucrative relationship with Will Smith or Jada or whoever loves him, right? So he is also taking a risk to some extent. We're all taking risk. And if Will Smith had come up there and really punched him hard to the point where it causes some sort of cerebral damage, that's a risk that he took by telling that joke. What I'm saying here is whatever decision that we end up making, we still calculate consequences, no matter how small or little time we take to make those decisions. They are still calculated decisions to some extent.
So are you saying, because the thing is, when you look at that type of particular event, they're not going to have security ready to say if someone is going to walk up to stage like Will Smith, you're going to stop them from going there because
No,
you don't know what they're doing.
wait. Look. If it was just a random dude who was walking up that stage, they would have
Mhm.
stopped him before he got anywhere close to Rock. They saw it was Will Smith. Then they said, "Okay, let's see what
Well,
Will Smith is
everybody,
about to
in
do."
there- yeah.
And
Well, everybody
yeah,
that's
so
in there is not a random guy anyway. So
yeah, that's why
that
I'm saying that you
that
get a
nullifies
pass
that.
because you are Will Smith. That's why you see there are things people can commit the same crime and solicit different judgments from it just because of who they are. This is just the reality of life, that you don't get the same results because you are different people.
So if you are saying, let me get what you're saying. You're saying that Will Smith had enough, he was given enough grace to go up there and do what he did because he took a calculated decision that Chris Rock was not going to press charges after I actually hit him,
Yeah, I think if he knew
right?
for a fact that he would go, if he knew that the chances that he would go to prison for it was high enough, he wouldn't have done it. The fact that he did, obviously some people can miscalculate their chances. That's why things that are bad end up happening from their actions. They miscalculated what they are getting. But I really feel like he just reacted overly emotional, like from what we were saying, bottled up emotion and anger and all that stuff, and he did what he did. And I don't think he thought for a second there would be any consequences to what he did, legal consequences. I don't
And
think he
and
thought
now
about
I'll
that.
say this is what I'm saying. I'm trying to get an answer that we can have men model.
Mhm.
I'm not trying to have an answer that carefully fits into Chris Rock's and Will Smith's situation, because things we talk about affect the broader society. And you did ask me if people were going to start walking around punching people because of that, right? And the time to decide whether something is going to be a good calculated move that will either ruin your life or not is not when you're angry, is not when you're taking offense in the heat of the moment. If I was to if I was to at least give advice to my son, I would always tell them to not or to refrain, because there's more chances you're going to miscalculate this or misjudge the information, the what do you call it, the situation.
Situation.
And what if you punch him and he punches you back?
Yeah,
He's
you,
another man.
you get into a
And then,
fight. Yeah,
and then what? You have a fight on the Oscars on national television. And
that would have
seriously,
been fun though.
yeah, but what I'm saying is though, why are you putting yourself in that particular position? You're putting yourself there and you're putting another black man in that particular position over something that we know has been done since the Oscars have been going on. People have
Question.
been hosting each other.
Question. Why are you emphasizing black men here?
I am a black man, and the image for black men is thought of in black people as being rowdy, being loud, being uncivilized, and being overly
Being
emotional.
violent.
and being violent, and then you go on national TV and you do exactly what they say you do. The white man took the joke. Yes, it wasn't as offensive. I'm pretty sure there are jokes that are a lot more offensive that have been said about other people in the Oscars that they have not done
Yeah,
that. Why
the joke
him?
was. Yeah, I agree that Will Smith overreacted. I think he should have just let it slide. He should have just let it slide and maybe have a conversation with Rock about it. And also, he wasn't really angry at Chris Rock. No, he was angry at his wife and his marriage and all this other stuff. Chris Rock just became a punching bag for his anger. That's really the truth of it.
And everybody keeps saying this. He laughed initially. His initial reaction was to laugh.
Yeah, but how much of it do you think is just because of his acting instincts?
Yes, there's that. But then the thing is, Jada's response was very authentic, right?
Yeah, she was like, she didn't did like any of it at
And
all.
and and I've seen people who didn't like being the butt of a joke. They sat there, they took it, but they didn't like it. Former President Trump was roasted by Obama before he
Yeah,
actually became
he
the
wasn't
president.
he wasn't going to go up and punch Obama. Secret Service will be
I'm
on
not.
his ass
Yeah, I know.
very quickly.
I'm not equating that he should have. But I'm just trying to emphasize the fact that people have been butts of jokes before. There will always be butts of jokes even after. But my question is for the black male image that did not help us.
Yeah,
And there's a lot of
but
people that look up to Will Smith, and
here's here's what I will
even the
say though.
Migos look better than you in this case. And this is not a shot against the
Look,
Migos or rappers or
look.
anything.
Here's what I will say though. If you're going to decide to make fun of anyone, be ready for anything in return.
Oh yeah,
we
definitely.
cannot we cannot curtail to say you are a comedian, it was just a joke. You can do whatever you want, but you cannot regulate my reaction to whatever you are doing at the same time. So this excuse of it's only a joke, yeah, it's a joke to you, but how I receive your joke is now up to me. Obviously, I would prefer a world in which people can actually take jokes and laugh out at things that are funny and so on. But we cannot control that. If I'm offended by what you said, I can react however I want to react and also face the consequences of my reaction to what you did.
Yeah, and I agree with you there. The problem is then after you react, also the same accountability you put on the person
Yeah,
that say the joke, you also have to take the
exactly.
accountability when
That's
the
why
law
I'm
comes to
saying,
deal with you.
yeah, that's what
But
I'm saying because people are now saying that people should not react physically to a joke. No, people who fought everywhere reacted to words before.
I think he shouldn't have. He could have easily made an ass out of himself because calculating that Chris Rock is not gonna hit me back because he's gonna have the high moral negate of the culpability of taking the high moral ground and being the bigger man because he's the one that said the joke. Imagine if he tried to hit Chris,
I'm,
he holds his hand and he punches him back and he gets beat on national television.
Yeah, that's why I said you calculate the consequence. Plus, also, he wasn't going there for a fight because if he actually wanted to fight, he would have actually punched him and punched again. But he just slapped him and he walked back.
Yeah, but
That's why I'm
again,
saying
like
that
I,
he
no,
knew
but
that.
like I'm saying, what if Chris Rock decides to fight back? What happens? Let's say Chris
Yeah, that's it.
Rock is
Yeah,
like,
people
I'm
are
not
facing
having this.
consequences of their decisions in the moment. That's why I'm
Yeah,
saying that you
which
have
is
to know that whatever you do, you be ready to deal with the consequences of whatever you do.
yeah, there's that, but then he's now ruined the Oscars too. On top of that,
No,
now I
no, no,
mean,
no. The Oscars, he saved them. The
no,
Oscars were
what?
ruined a long time ago
No,
by
no, yeah, I
woke
know.
culture.
Listen, what I'm trying to say is, in that particular moment, if he fights, yes, they will get views and all that, but what's the likelihood that he might not be invited to them
No,
again, or they could have certain things they could do
dude,
to at least,
they
you know what I
they
mean?
already did.
Or
They
they could
already
fine him, or they
reacted.
could do something.
They already reacted. They said that they don't condone violence. He is Will Smith. If he was some sort of backbencher, nobody, they would do something. But
I'm
first of
asking you
all,
this question, Vincent, because you're not understanding what I'm saying. If Chris Rock had retaliated and then it was an actual fight, they wouldn't have said what
mhm.
they said now. They wouldn't have taken the stance they took. The only reason why it ended up like, oh, it was a civil thing was because Chris Rock was really ready to make sure it just looked like business as usual. Even after he didn't really
Yeah,
dwell on it a
yeah,
lot
but
and all that.
now you're asking me to respond to an abstract thing that didn't happen. I'm responding to something that actually happened.
Well, yeah, but you're saying that he made. I don't know. I keep doing that. You're saying that he actually did calculate the odds of
Hmm.
whatever this and that
Yeah,
happening, right? Which
yeah.
which is what I'm saying. That what if he calculated that wrong? What if that had happened?
Yeah, it
Because
happens all the time. People miscalculate things all the time, and then they suffer worse consequences than they thought. Nobody makes a decision that will mess up their lives or that will that will result in some negative consequence. But negative consequences happen because we make miscalculations, we make wrong decisions, and things like that. This is one of the wrong
okay,
decisions.
I hear you. Give an advice to your son about this particular incident, so that at least we
Well,
move on from there. What would you
yeah,
advise your son to do?
in this incident, like he is in Will Smith's chair right now. Like after his wife has said all that stuff and so on. No, to just chill out. Just sit there and chill out. If you
Why?
actually, because of the public image that it represents. Number one, it doesn't redeem you the way that you think it's going to. Because I think that's what he was going for, to say I'm a tough guy. No, people are not going to talk about Will Smith the tough guy. They are talking about something else. So if you want to be Will Smith, the tough guy, get rid of this woman who is making you do all this dumb shit. That's what I would advise.
Well,
But in
that's
general, I would want to raise my son so that he knows not to, number one, take offense on these kind of like frivolous issues, number one, and also to pick a woman the right way, not to be put in a position like this one, but because of a woman.
and I like what you just said there, because I was thinking about it. I was like, I don't want to sound like I'm making this about Jada. Like it was Will Smith who overreacted. Yes, the joke was about Jada, but to say she also did not tell him go and beat him up, but he did. But in some twisted way, she did have a hand in the way he reacted by
Yeah.
the things she did before. Indirectly, it could sound like you're reaching, but yes, I got where you are. But yeah, the answer is like you're trying to give a sustainable answer for your son, that if in case he miscalculates a situation, he doesn't get in trouble, and the answer is always going to be grow thicker skin and move on.
Hmm. Fight the
But
bigger battles. All
yeah,
right. I think we can close this one. Also, do you think we talked way too long than we should have? Nobody's going to listen 43 minutes of this. Oh, they will. I don't know. We'll see.
well, I would say the best way is for the people who obviously look at our videos, that really at least would like to help us and in improving our content. Just comment. Do you like these long format videos, or would you prefer a 10-minute video?
Yeah.
Just write
Here's
the
the
time, if
Yeah,
you
just
can,
right.
in the comment section, the time you think is ideally a good
Well,
time.
obviously, if you made it this way, it means that you watched
You like
through the
the
whole thing. So we really appreciate it. But here's the thing about us: we speak from the heart and from our minds directly. We don't, prepare anything or overproduce or anything like that. We want it to be as authentic as possible, and that's why our conversations end up to this time. And the other thing is, part of the reason why we started this channel is because we have these kinds of conversations all the time. Literally every time we talk, this is how we always talk. And we can go for hours and hours talking like this. We just said to record them. So if you enjoy them, let us know. If you want us to cut them short, also let us know. And on top of that, let us know what you think about this Will Smith, Chris Rock debacle.
all right, the 2 decent blocks out.
All right.